Fuel for the 757 is contained in 3 tanks: the left and right main tanks, and the center tank. Each main tank holds approximately 14,500 pounds of fuel. The center tank holds approximately 46,000 pounds for a total fuel capacity of 75,000 pounds. There is no provision for tank-to-tank fuel transfer from the cockpit. The fueling station is located on the right wing leading edge. Each main tank contains 2 AC-powered fuel pumps, designated forward and aft. A single pump can adequately supply one engine for all thrust conditions. The center tank has 2 AC-powered pumps, designated left and right. The center tank pumps provide approximately twice the output pressure of the main tank fuel pumps. Because of the differential pressure, the center tank pumps override the main tank pumps to supply fuel to the engines. The left main and left center tank pumps normally pressurize the left fuel manifold. The right main and right center tank pumps normally pressurize the right fuel manifold. A fuel cross-feed valve allows any pump to pressurize both engine fuel manifolds. APU fuel is supplied from the left manifold. During APU starting, the forward fuel pump in the left main tank supplies fuel to the APU automatically, regardless of switch position. If AC power is not available, a DC fuel pump in the left main tank provides fuel to the APU. There are no cockpit indications advising that the DC pump is operating. The controls and indicators for the fuel system are located on the overhead panel. Fuel quantity indicators provide individual tank quantities and the total fuel on board. Total fuel quantity is also provided to the FMS. A fuel temperature indicator provides Celsius readings from the right tank. Let's move on to normal operations. On the ground, both center tank pumps are inhibited with the engines shut down. If the associated center tank pump is switched on, it will supply fuel to the respective engine, as N2 RPM increases above 50%. Center tank fuel is normally burned first for structural purposes. The main tank pumps should be switched on while using center tank fuel. The center tank low pressure lights illuminate when the center tank is empty, accompanied by the associated ICAS message. Switching the center tank pumps off extinguishes the pump low pressure lights and the ICAS message. Since the main tank pump switches are normally left on, main tank fuel will automatically feed the respective engines when the center tank is empty. let's look at some abnormal operations. The main tank low pressure lights illuminate, accompanied by the associated ICAS message, anytime the pump output pressure is low, regardless of the pump switch position. If only one main tank low pressure light illuminates, normal operation may be continued. The center tank low pressure lights will illuminate when the associated pump switch is on, and output pressure is low, the associated engine N2 RPM is below 50%, or the tank is empty. If a center tank pump malfunctions, the crossfeed valve can be opened, allowing the remaining pump to supply both engines. The malfunctioning pump is then turned off to prevent possible damage. A valve disagreement light illuminates, accompanied by the associated ICAS message, if the valve position does not agree with the switch position. The fuel configuration light illuminates, accompanied by the associated ICAS message, a significant fuel imbalance exists between the main tanks, fuel quantity in the left or right main tank is less than 2,200 pounds. When both center tank fuel pump switches are off with more than 1,200 pounds of fuel in the center tank, if the fuel configuration light illuminates because the center tank pumps are off, turning on either center tank fuel pump will extinguish the fuel configuration light and associated ICAS message. A fuel imbalance can be corrected by first opening the crossfeed valve and then switching the pumps off in the low tank. The fuel pumps may be restarted and the crossfeed valve closed when the fuel quantities are balanced, or when the fuel configuration light extinguishes. Now let's look at the 767 differences. On the 767, the refueling station is located on the left wing, and fuel temperature is taken in the left main tank. The 767 center fuel tank has sections in each wing root. These sections are connected to function as a single tank. The left and right main tanks hold approximately 41,000 pounds of fuel each. The center tank on the Dash 200 and 300 holds approximately 30,000 pounds, for a total fuel capacity of 112,000 pounds. The ER center tank holds approximately 80,400 pounds, for a total fuel capacity of 162,400 pounds. The ER also has a fuel jettison system. The fuel jettison control panel is located on the overhead panel above the fuel panel. Only the center tank fuel can be jettisoned. To jettison fuel, first rotate the fuel jettison switch to on. This starts the jettison pumps and opens the transfer valves. Next, push the two guarded jettison nozzle switches, which will cause the fuel to be pumped overboard. The jettison nozzle must be manually shut off when the desired amount of fuel has been dumped. Fuel is jettisoned at approximately 1,600 pounds per minute. Fuel can be jettisoned from the center tank only. Fuel jettison is possible in flight or on the ground. If a jettison nozzle valve is open during ground operations, an advisory ICAS message will appear. On the ground, the fuel jettison switches should be set to off. The fuel jettison fault light illuminates, accompanied by the associated ICAS message. If a fault occurs with either a jettison pump or a transfer valve, the valve light illuminates in the associated valve, accompanied by the associated ICAS message. If either fuel jettison nozzle fails,